Meetings all day, sorry. Oh, damn. Okay, alright, cheers. Thanks. Oh, hey Aaron. We're trying to catch you all day.
Oh, just busy at the moment. I'm shooting up to a meeting.
Are you? Oh, do you mind if I, can I take you and I can ask you questions
just around the corner.
Okay, sweet. Let's go. So, I know I've asked you this lots before, but what's the best entity to own an investment property in?
It really depends. It's a case by case, because what you've really got to take into consideration is the individuals and what their long-term plan is. Outside of that, there could be that they're self-employed. It might be an employee of a company. So we've got to take into consideration a number of things, including asset protection as well as tax minimisation. Okay, and so can I just go and buy an investment property under my own name and sort all that stuff out later, or do you sort it out before? Or certainly can, but my recommendation is a 5-minute chat with an advisor would put you in good stead to make sure that it's structured correctly. It's certainly a lot harder to unwind a transaction once it's all been settled.
Okay, fair enough. And another thing that always confuses me is how the bank always wants security over all your assets. So can you control the banks and say what security they can and can't have, or get it back? Or
certainly, it's one thing to certainly consider, because the banks, like any business, they're out to secure their position. There's nothing wrong with looking to push back and ask for some limit in the security that they're after. I've always told a number of my clients that they're after everything, including your unborn children. So
seems like it.
Yeah, it's be reasonable with the bank, but also make sure you've got to protect yourself, particularly around investments that you don't want to have on the line, so to speak.
And the other thing is, with this associated persons rule, so if you've got buy and hold property and then you want to get into some development or trading, how do you break that associated persons rule? How does that all work? Can you do it?
Very hard these days. There were some rule changes that went through with the IRD back in about 2009, where they were aware of a loophole in the law, where historically people were able to set up entities and structures through multiple trusts to try and break the association rules. However, since then it's near impossible to do both property development and investment at the same time without the IRD potentially challenging from a tainting point of view. So our recommendation is certainly seek advice from an advisor in that space, because it is highly complex, and that run-of-the-mill we can't do it at the same time, but there are ways and means that we can put some structures in place. Okay, so if you're typically buying whole property and then you get into developing, you could have to pay more tax on your buy and hold properties when you go and sell them because you've tainted that lot. Is that how it works? Not necessarily. It really comes down to the ownership and the structure of how you carry out your development activity. And it really comes down to from the purchase date of the property thereafter is where the key thing that you need to be mindful of. So again, intention. Yeah, because certainly you don't want to be in the space where your investment property is tainted from a point of view that you're now considered a developer, because any capital gains that you would have otherwise been able to realise tax-free will be at the tax rate of the entity that the property development, potentially the individual. So it could be up to 33 cents on the dollar that you're giving away. I think a lot of people don't know about that rule. Certainly, I mean, in the current environment, I think there's a number of investors out there that, with these new LVR rules, are trying to create equity a lot quicker. And to do that, they are experimenting with flipping properties or getting into that property development space. So certainly a consideration they need to take into play, because it is substantial if you get it wrong. Yeah, definitely. So with property management, obviously we tell our clients that property management fees are tax deductible, as are most of your expenses with your investment properties, but can you put an approximate percentage on how much they get back with their property management fees at the end of the year?
How do you work all that out?
Not necessarily, because it really comes down to, again, the structure, and it would be a matter of considering if it's in a company, the company tax rate's 28 cents in a dollar, and then the individuals, that's a marginal tax rate that steps up from their 10.5 up to 33 cents. So in individual circumstances that would be a little bit different, but rule of thumb I'd be suggesting ballpark probably 25% of the property management fee is it comes back as a tax saving, so to speak.
Oh, cool.